he's someone who's been a part of the Labour Party for a long period of time, particularly during the Blair Brown years, and at one point in time as well, voted for the Iraq War, and there's a tendency. I don't know whether it's optimism and hope that people of the British left who are kind of hoping for anything that is better than Keir Starmer, are sort of projecting something onto Andy Burnham that might not necessarily actually be who he is.
Yes,
and I personally I think people massively underprice Iraq and the war in terms of its toxicity for Blair personally, but that whole cadre of people as well. And I think you'd be foolish to not think that has some sort of long tail impact about the way that people think and consider him. I mean, do you think he'll be haunted by that vote as he comes into number 10?
I think it may rear its head. Iraq is the war that lots of people who supported it want to go away and has never really gone away. And obviously I covered the Labour leadership election of 2010 when I was at the New Statesman. I co-chaired with then editor Jason Cowley the Labour leaders debate in Westminster, which was Andy Burnham, Diane Abbott, Ed Miliband, David Miliband and Ed Balls. And at the time, a couple of things, Andy Burnham was the most quote-unquote right-wing candidate on stage. He had launched his candidacy in 2010 as the guy saying we need to be tougher on immigration, we got it all wrong, we abandoned white working class voters. And Ed Miliband, of course, with the exception of Diane Abbott, was the most left-wing candidate on the stage and ran very much on the basis that, he had privately opposed the Iraq war. He'd been part of a faction that was never happy with some of the Blairite hawkish foreign policy. And then I wrote a book about Miliband, with James McIntyre, where we talked about the Iraq war and how that had loomed between Ed and David Miliband. David, of course, had been a supporter. And we're now hearing reports that David Miliband could be back in the House of Lords as Foreign Secretary, which is interesting because he spent the last decade here in the US, as have I, in New York. I'm in DC, but really rehabilitating his reputation by doing sterling work for the IRC, for the International Rescue Committee on, topics like Syria, even on Gaza. And actually, I think the Gaza issue is the one that's really going to hit Burnham first because he's kind of dodged it. I saw him during the campaign get asked about it in the by-election, and he talked about, in very vague terms, about how it's all very upsetting and distressing, and he's spoken about it, but, he's focused on the by-election. But, that excuse won't work once he's prime minister, and we look at Gaza and Lebanon and Iran, all of which are live conflicts. Let's not buy any bullshit that there is some ceasefire or end to the war in any of those places.